Aisha Bello's hands ached as she wiped down the last table for the night. Rain lashed against the cafe windows, a perfect mirror for the storm inside her heart. At just 22, life in Lagos was a constant struggle. Every naira she earned was a tiny victory against a mountain of bills. Exhaustion was her closest companion, but tonight, it felt heavier than usual. As she trudged home, the city lights blurred through the downpour. The streets were chaotic, with cars speeding through puddles, sending up walls of dirty water. That's when she saw her, a small, elderly woman, hunched under a flimsy scarf, hesitating at the edge of a busy road. Cars swerved and honked, but no one stopped. The woman looked so fragile, so alone. Without a second thought, Aisha ran to her side. "Let me help you, Mama," she said, her voice gentle above the noise of the traffic. She opened her own small, tattered umbrella, holding it over the woman's head and using her body to shield her from the splashing cars. Step by step, they made their way across the treacherous road. On the other side, safe from the traffic, the old woman clutched Aisha's hand. Her eyes, though tired, were filled with a profound warmth. "Thank you, my child. Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling. "The world is hard, but don't ever let it take this good heart from you. It is more precious than all the gold in the world." Just then, a sleek, black luxury SUV pulled up to the curb, its headlights cutting through the rain. Aisha watched, a little surprised, as a driver in a sharp suit hurried out with a large umbrella to escort the woman to the car. She still had no idea who she had just helped. She simply smiled, waved goodbye, and continued her walk home, feeling a little lighter despite the rain. Inside the plush interior of the SUV, Mama Eunice Adewale settled into the leather seat. Her son, Colonel Adewale, a name that commanded respect and fear in Lagos's business circles, looked at her with concern. "Mother, you shouldn't be out in this weather. Where were you?" Mama Eunice just smiled. "I was getting a reminder, Colonel. A reminder of what truly matters." She then told him about the young girl, the one with an old umbrella and a heart of pure gold. A girl who didn't ask for a single naira, who just helped a stranger because it was the right thing to do. She described Aisha's simple, selfless act with such emotion that it chipped away at the wall Colonel had built around his own heart. Colonel Adewale was a man who dealt in numbers, profits, and power. He was known for his cold logic and ruthless business tactics. But his mother's story moved him. In a world where everyone wanted something from him, the idea of someone giving so freely, with no expectation of reward, was almost unbelievable. He had to meet this girl. The next day, Colonel quietly dispatched his most trusted security chief. "Find her," he instructed. "She works at a cafe near where you picked up my mother. But be discreet. I want you to approach her with the utmost respect. She is not to be frightened or intimidated." A few days passed. Aisha's life went back to its usual grind: long hours, tired feet, and the constant worry about money. Then one afternoon, as her shift ended, a man in a driver's uniform approached her. "Miss Aisha Bello?" he asked politely. Aisha's heart pounded. Was she in some kind of trouble? "Mama Eunice Adewale requests your presence at her home. I am here to take you." Confusion and fear swirled inside her. Who was this Mama Eunice, and why would she send a driver for her? Trembling, she got into the car. The drive took her to a part of Lagos she had only ever dreamed of, to an opulent mansion surrounded by lush gardens and high walls. This was the home of a billionaire. When the grand doors opened, she saw the same kind old woman from the rainy night, now dressed in elegant traditional attire. But it was the man standing beside her that made Aisha's breath catch. It was Colonel Adewale. She had seen his face on magazine covers and billboards. The cold, powerful CEO. And the woman she had helped was his mother. "Welcome, my dear," Mama Eunice said, her smile as warm as before. "I wanted to thank you properly." Aisha stammered, overwhelmed. "It was nothing, Mama. Anyone would have done the same." Colonel watched her, his expression unreadable. He expected her to ask for money, to see the opportunity in front of her. But she didn't. She just stood there, humble and genuine. Mama Eunice took her hand. "Aisha, I could give you money, and it would be gone in a month. But a heart like yours deserves more than that. It deserves a purpose." She then offered Aisha a position at the Adewale Foundation, the family's renowned charitable organization. "We need people like you," she explained. "People who act from kindness, not for recognition. Aisha was stunned into silence. A real job, with a real salary, doing meaningful work. It was a dream she never dared to have. With tears in her eyes, she accepted. But her new beginning was not without its challenges. At the foundation, she met Saad Williams, a senior manager who saw Aisha not as a colleague, but as a threat. Saad had worked for years to get Kunnal's attention, and she was furious that this unknown girl from a cafe had been brought in on a whim. Saad began to subtly sabotage Aisha's work. She gave her impossible tasks with short deadlines, forgot to include her in important meetings, and spread rumors that Aisha was incompetent and only had the job because she had somehow manipulated the Adewale family. Aisha, unfamiliar with office politics, began to doubt herself. She worked harder and harder, but it felt like she was always one step behind. One day, Saad assigned Aisha a critical project for an upcoming charity gala. She deliberately provided Aisha with incorrect data, ensuring the project would fail and humiliate her in front of Kunnal and the entire board. As expected, Aisha's presentation was a disaster. The numbers didn't add up, and she couldn't answer the board's sharp questions. She stood there, mortified, her dream turning into a nightmare. But Kunnal had been watching. He had noticed Saada's hostility and had his team quietly investigate. Just as Saad was about to deliver a final, cutting remark about Aisha's failure, Kunnal stood up. The data Miss Bello was given was intentionally falsified, he announced, his voice cold and firm. And I know who was responsible. He looked directly at Saad, whose face turned pale. He then turned to Aisha. You were set up to fail, but your integrity in the face of this is what truly matters. In that moment, Kunnal not only saved her career, but also showed her that he saw her for who she truly was. He made it clear to everyone in that room that Aisha had his complete trust and support. The night of the charity gala arrived. It was a grand affair, attended by the city's most powerful and influential people. During his speech, Kunnal did something unexpected. He didn't just talk about the foundation's achievements. He told a story. He told the story of a rainy night, an elderly woman, and a young cafe worker with a small umbrella and an enormous heart. He didn't use her name, but everyone who knew the story, including a shocked Aisha standing at the back of the room, understood. It is this spirit of selfless kindness, Kunnal concluded, his voice resonating with emotion, that is the true foundation of everything we hope to achieve. A wave of applause filled the grand ballroom. Later that evening, Mama Eunice found Aisha. You see, my child, she said, squeezing her hand. A single act of kindness is never wasted. It sends ripples out into the world that you can't even imagine. Standing there, in a beautiful dress she could never have afforded, Aisha finally understood. Her life hadn't been changed by money or a job. It had been changed by a choice she made on a rainy night, a choice to be kind. That simple act had rewritten her destiny, opening doors not just to a career, but to a life of dignity, purpose, and a future filled with hope. She realized that the old woman was right. A good heart was truly more precious than all the gold in the world. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that inspires.